Mondays are always the worst day of the week, but we want to change that. If you're like us and love hearing big buck stories, then tune in every Monday because we're going to bring you Muley Story Monday. So sit back, relax, and let's start making Monday just a little bit better.
Alright, today we're here with Jeff Adams, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his 37-inch wide buck that he and his dad killed. So they killed this buck in Utah, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the year you killed it?
Well, I don't remember the year, but I'm 64 years old right now, and I was about 12.
Oh, really?
So that's what, 52 years ago?
52 years ago.
Yeah, so you can do the math. So figure out when that was.
Whoa.
But yeah, it was a fun time. And it's a time that I'll probably never forget. I'll die with the thoughts and the images and all of that in my mind. But yeah, we were hunting in an area that we had hunted probably for 8 or maybe 10 years, and we'd taken some nice bucks out of the area prior, but this was the nicest one that we'd ever taken. And I can't really take a lot of credit for it. I was just with my dad, and it was early in the morning, and it was kind of an interesting time. Normally we would have been on top of a big rock, hiked up there, before it got daylight, and been sitting there waiting to see what we could see. And but the morning before that, there had been rumors of a cougar in the area, and that morning we had heard a shot that went off before it was even light. And come to find out, a guy thought he saw the silhouette of a cougar on a rock and shot at it, and actually killed the guy that was there with his son. And I knew the kid, and I knew the guy that was killed. And so my dad and I, obviously, and the rest of us in camp, decided that instead of getting up on a rock and waiting for it to get light, we would make sure that it was light before we climbed up on any rocks. And so it was just barely getting light, and light enough to really see what was going on. So we got up where we normally would be and sat there for a while, and then we heard coming up from behind us, we could hear something coming through the oak, and it was making a lot of noise, a lot of racket, and we weren't sure what it was, but we just kept our eyes in that direction. And then this thing came out into the opening, and
So was it like a flat and thick trees on the side?
well, it wasn't really thick stuff.
Yeah.
There was a lot of like scrub oak and stuff that was, this tall, miserable to try and get through.
Really?
But and then there were some cedars, some cedars and a few pine trees, and then there were places that were open where it was just sagebrush. There was some trees on the hillside, and that's kind of where it came down through. It kind of came up over the ridge, and then came down the side of the hill where we were, and then it kind of flattened out and opened up. And as he came out into the open, we could see what it was. We couldn't believe our eyes. Anyway, we saw this, and my dad he tipped it over with a Remington 30-06 semi-automatic. And the reason I tell you that is he had four shells in the clip, and so he waited for it to get in the clearing a little bit better, where he could get a little better shot. And he torched one off, and he missed it, and then he torched another one off and missed it again.
No way. How far was he?
He was probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 125 yards, maybe 150 yards away. It wasn't that far.
Yeah.
These were not long shots.
But you're probably shaking.
Oh, my dad
so
was just,
big.
he was just sideways. And so he torched off another one and missed it again. He took 3 shots at the thing and missed all 3, and he only had one left.
Oh.
And so he finally decided He laid down really quick on this rock that we were on and pushed a bunch of stuff out of the way. And by this time, it was running directly away from us, straight away from us. And he laid down and took his time on that last shot and hit it in the neck. And that was all it took.
Holy
But
God,
when
and it dropped right
And
there.
it dropped right there. It didn't keep going. It was all over right there. But anyway, it was way exciting, and we couldn't believe how nice it was. Even when we got up to it and really started looking hard at it, it was like, oh my gosh, you know. So anyway, it was just a lot of fun.
Jeff's buck is 37 inches wide and has a gross score of 205 inches.